Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Yahweh Kakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, many blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect, the house of David, the by after our die, for whom these epistles are written for in these last days. Shalom to the elect. And, as these days are continuing to march towards the end of our captivity here in Babylon the Great, which is known as America today, but in the scriptures known as Babylon the Great or Mystery Babylon. A lot of these prophecies that are coming to pass, and the picture is starting to get a lot clearer. You got certain Edomites that the so-called, you got certain Edomites or the so-called white man who are being pushed in positions to increase the end of this captivity. What I mean by that is, Donald Trump, he's playing a major part in this. Joe Biden did what he had to do, right? And everything's playing perfectly according to the scriptures. So, without any trying to get any further ado, let's get into this article right here, because this is major, obviously. This is going to be hastening in the possible martial law. We don't know necessarily what's going to get it kicked off, but stuff like this definitely is going to be a good indication, right? So this is from RT News. It says Trump mulling Insurrection Act amid court roadblocks from the Vice President Vance. So they're looking to shut this thing down, man. They got these troops already, these National Guard troops. And when I'm riding to work in the morning, I've been noticing the last week or so that they've been having those Humvees and those military grade Humvees and things of that nature. So they're gonna be touching down here in Atlanta pretty soon, and that's not a surprise to those of you that are watching. Those of you that have the ears to hear, this is not a surprise. There's gonna be major uproars of the people. The scriptures talk about that, right? Matter of fact, let's get that. So it's going to be major uproars of the people. And this is going to be ushering in the end. So just keep watching. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, the end is almost near. And we don't have to play these stupid, funny games anymore. And we can get to the serious business of the kingdom and getting the kingdom built up. Okay? This is 2nd Esdras 9:1. It says, He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have said, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. That's right. So these occurrences that are happening, these are building up towards the inevitable end of America. And once Yahweh Shai gets here, America will cease to be a country anymore, a kingdom, an empire. It will not be an empire anymore. Because in the midst of World War III, nukes will be shot off from every corner of the earth against America. Okay? And this is all according to prophecy and Revelation and many other scriptures. Okay, Isaiah 95 for one, right? Jeremiah, okay, Isaiah, they all talk about missiles being shot from one end of the earth unto the other. But before then, there's going to be other things that's going to be happening on the earth. Mainly here, the stage, which is America, there's going to be uproars of the people. Verse 3, it says, therefore, when thou shalt be seeing earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou will understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. That's right. So from the beginning, the Lord had a plan. Okay. He knew who all his players were, right? He knew that he was going to choose Israel as a people to separate from everyone else. He knew that that would make everyone else, very jealous, you know. You know what I'm saying? The mere fact that there's a chosen people, all right. The rest of the earth, they're jealous of that, So they're very envious. So that's why they go out of their way to try to denigrate, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, because the elite know who you are. I ain't talking about these Joes and Billies and Johns. I'm talking about the upper echelon of the nations. They know who you are. Okay, so they're getting ready to shut these cities down, and there won't be any access to any food or anything like that. It's going to have to be rationed off. Okay, there's going to be famine in the land. Okay, that's why we're getting ready right now. Brothers are fasting. Brothers are, throwing up prayers. Okay, throwing up curses. Okay, so we're getting ready to enter into a very dangerous period called the day of Jacob's trouble. And his elect are going to be protected. Now, there will be martyrs of the elect, some, right? But mainly the ones that the Lord wants to see, the new earth and the new heavens being set up. He wants them to see it personally. They'll see it. Okay, they're going to survive all types of attempts from Esau. Okay, and that's our faith. They're going to live to see the fall of their enemy. And that's a blessing. Okay. But before then, there's got to be things that's got to be going on in the earth. So there's going to be all types of troops and stumping down, and you know what I'm saying? So verse 5, it says, for like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings. I don't know what the hell that was. Slack it. It says, in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end of the slack it. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. So that's what we're headed to. We're headed to the manifesting of the end of the world. Okay. Let's get into the article. It says U.S. President Donald Trump is exploring all options, including invoking the Insurrection Act following legal challenges to the deployment of troops in Democrat-run states. Vice President J.D. Vance has said. That's right. So you already know. These devils are getting ready to bring some pain. Okay. I want to get a couple precepts. One being this is Revelation 13:11. And it says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. So what does that mean? Well, he spake or those two horns represent his Democratic and Republican parties. Okay, just as the same as he has the plebeians and patricians in Rome. So it's the same system. Okay, just a new name, but it's the same system from Rome. That's why we call it the second leg of the Roman Empire, right? So they're trying to accomplish the New World Order using Rome. Okay, it's going to be based upon Roman values. Okay, and they're going to put that chip inside of you, all right, to lock you into the system. Meanwhile, okay, you're going to be worshiping the beast, right? And it says he spake as a dragon. Well, it says two horns like a lamb. I already explained what those mean. But the lamb part is him presenting himself as meek and humble and friendly, somebody who's not here to hurt you, okay? But he spake as a dragon. So a lamb that speaks as a dragon is not really a lamb, is it? It's something more than a lamb. It just presents itself as a lamb. But really, when it speaks as a dragon, it's very horrible, okay? It speaks meaning through his laws and his statutes. Okay, his laws are what's the word? His laws are disjointed, unfair, okay, unbiased, or very biased, but very biased. Okay, his laws are all over the place. He has amendments to his laws. He has no consistency. He's a hypocrite, right? So he speaks as a dragon. So he's gonna come down on the people that see through his wayward system. That's who his biggest threat is: the Hebrew Israelites. And he does everything to try to blackball us, put us in certain corners. But it's Yahweh Bashem Shah that gives you that power. Don't you ever forget that, devil. So if the Lord wants you to put troops down on the earth, guess what? This what you're gonna do. Okay? Let's go to Daniel. Daniel 4:17. Okay, devil. If the Lord wants you to send troops to Memphis, Atlanta, Los Angeles, Chicago, New York City, Washington, D.C., Indianapolis, Indiana, Charlotte, North Carolina, if the Lord wants you to do that, Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Austin, Texas, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, if the Lord wants you to send troops to these major cities, he will. And you will. If the Lord wants you to lock this country down, okay, using martial law, you will. And it's going to set up a showdown between all those pro-gun right Edomites versus the government. That's really what it's going to happen to. Okay? Daniel 4:17, it says, this matter is by the decree of the watchers and by the demand of the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. The Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. So if these things go down, it's because the Lord wants you to know that he is the one that set it up. Satan is the go-between. Okay? It says, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and set up over it the basis of men, which that's what we are in prophecy. The base man is the so-called white man, so-called, which, by the way, that was created in the 1600s. Okay? White people was not a thing before the 1600s. That's a new term in the earth. So, and just like everything the so-called white man says is lies, based upon lies. So, as we move forward through prophecy, he's being exposed, and he hates that shit. But there's nothing he can do about it. Okay? This is Second Thessalonians 2:3. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And we are in that time. He's being revealed. So him speaking as a lamb, or no, it's like him presenting himself as a lamb, meek, humble, okay, friendly, but he's speaking as a dragon, is a contradiction. That's why we call him thou hypocrite, right? He shows himself one way and he speaks another. He's all over the fucking place. So the Heavenly Father is showing his unmeekness, his devil horns. Okay, and guess what? 2/3 of the nation of Israel, they're gonna get caught up in this shit because they don't believe what the prophets are telling them. Let's jump down. This is 2 Thessalonians 2:7. It says, "For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way." So the Lord is allowing this devil to do what he's doing. Okay? Verse 8, it says, and then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. The spirit of his mouth is the prophets, and the brightness of his coming is Yahweh Shai, the top dog on the right hand side, his only begotten son, who actually created the heavens and the earth and the angels. Okay? Verse 9, it says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. And that's where we are in prophecy right now. We're in prophecy according to the devil being revealed, his plans being revealed and shown worldwide via apps like YouTube. Okay, there's other apps, but the main app is YouTube. That's how most brothers woke up. But as you can see, this devil is very anxious. He's very anxious. He's very angry. He doesn't like that he's being shown for what he truly is. Right? He's that bloody city that's talked about in Nahum 3:1. And he does not like that. So he needs someone to blame. So now he's sending all his troops to Jake Ryan cities for the most part, even in the Republican states. So he's really speaking as a dragon. This is a part of his prophecy. He's supposed to do this. Okay. Let's go to Isaiah. Isaiah 10:1, it says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness, which they have to prescribe." And this Isaiah 10:1, right? In this article, they're writing grievousness, okay? And it's setting up a showdown where the Edomites, okay, on the Edomites who are, or slash Jake, all right, who are Second Amendment believers or holders, right? The government being also Esau are looking to lock this country down. Okay. It says Vance's remarks came as the White House moved to federalize the National Guard for deployment in Oregon and Illinois to support immigration enforcement, and amid Trump's crackdown. The administration said the decision was prompted by regime or rising crime in Portland and Chicago, but federal courts have since blocked the out-of-state deployments. Trump has previously floated the possibility of invoking the Insurrection Act, saying he would consider it if people were being killed and courts were holding us up. The law adopted in 1807 allows a president to deploy military forces on U.S. soil to restore order without the congressional approval. If I had to enact it, I'd do that, he said. It's playing out beautifully, guys. This is playing out beautifully. Okay? It says during an interview on NBC News, Meet the Press on Sunday, Vance was asked whether the president was serious about invoking the statute. The president is looking, quote unquote, the president is looking at all his options, he said. Fight now. He hasn't felt he needed to, or it's like right now he hasn't felt like he needed to. It says he accused the media of fueling violence against the police. calling the attacks on officers unacceptable. The problem here is not the Insurrection Act or whether we actually invoke it or not. The problem is the fact that the entire media in this country, cheered on by a few far left lunatics, have made it okay to be be off on American, or it's like to tee off on American law enforcement, Vance told the host. So yeah, they saying Democrat, Republican. That goes back to Revelation 13:11. He has two horns like a lamb, right? So those two horns are so-called against each other, but they're still placed strategically on the lamb, meaning they're all for the system. It's just that they have differences of opinion. It doesn't mean that their fundamental understanding of the system is not agreed upon, which it is. So these devils are all in on it. This is nothing but a fucking playwright. And if you go out and vote, you the fucking dummy. You're the goddamn dummy. Okay? You vote November 5th every 4 years, you're a goddamn dummy. If you voting in the midterms, you're a goddamn dummy. It's not gonna mean anything. Okay? And besides, the Bible preaches against that. You shouldn't be voting for another nation. But 2/3 of the nation of Israel don't give a damn. Okay? They want to do what they want to do. Okay? Isaiah 10:2, it says to turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey and that they may rob the fatherless. That's right. So at this time, what we're preaching cannot be disputed. You're seeing this. President Trump is possibly getting ready to invoke the Insurrection Act, which he does not need congressional, approval. And meanwhile, niggas are worried about when's the next Kendrick Lamar album coming out. Okay, did you see those cool, Tupac ads? Yeah, nigga, come on. Are you serious? The day of Jacob's troubles on its way. Okay? Do you understand the kind of they got robot dogs already, man. The Lord is going to allow this devil to get down in that day. Okay? This is Jeremiah 30:5. It says, for thus saith the Lord Yahweh. It says, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Why is it saying that? Because that day is going to bring out so much fear that even the biggest, baddest, badass, as I always like to say, or use Brock Lesnar as an example. There's going to be men that are built like Brock Lesnar that are going to be crying like little 12-year-old girls that skint their knee off the riding a bike. Up to my literally wailing out here, gnashing of teeth, not teeth. That sounds so damn country. Teeth, Salakia. Okay? It's going to be a horrible time down here. So bad that the Lord's going to have to send Michael the Archangel just to protect some of his elect. It's going to be that bad. And people insist on, it's going to be a rapture and we're going to go up and you guys are going to be stuck here during the 7 years of tribulation. First of all, where the fuck is that in the scriptures? Secondly, why haven't the rapture? Did you miss the ride? Huh? I heard it was coming on the 24th, right? Or the 25th. I guess you missed the ride. Sorry, I guess you're stuck down here with us. See, these people are talking. I'm not going to keep that to myself. These people are not well mentally anyway. And meanwhile, the elect are going to skate through. Okay, they're gonna deal with problems. Everybody will, but the Lord will provide for them. Meanwhile, these Gurkha troops gonna be out here. Okay, let's get that again. Okay, this is Jeremiah 30:7. It says, "Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." Now he is talking about the hopeful elect. At that time, it would be the actual elect. So the Heavenly Father has this plan sewed up perfectly. Everyone is doing their jobs. Okay. All right. Niggas are being niggas. The Hebrew Israelites, all right, who are in the right spirit, they're doing their job. The so-called white man is doing an immaculate job. He's doing everything that he was prophesied to say or do. Okay. And we have no issue with it. Okay. It's just, he's trying to crank it up faster and faster because he knows Yahweh Shai is on the way. Yep. Let's go back to the article. It says, Democrats argue the deployments are unnecessary, citing police data showing declining crime in both states. It says Vance countered by claiming local officials are not keeping the statistics properly. Protests erupted last week outside Portland's Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE facility, where demonstrators clashed with federal officers during late-night rallies. Smaller solidarity marches were also held on Seattle, San Francisco, and Denver. Those are very, very, very liberal, Democratic-ran cities. And in a lot of cases, there's a lot of homeless there. Okay? It says the Insurrection Act and its predecessors have been used 30 times in U.S. history since George Washington suppressed the Whiskey Rebellion in 1794. It says the most recent instance was under George A.W. Bush during the 1992 Los Angeles riots. So you know they're going to be going out there to fuck with Jake out there, especially in L.A. L.A. going to turn up. I'm keeping it real with y'all. L.A. is going to fucking turn up. There's a lot of racial tension out there, okay? All over the country, but yeah, specifically Los Angeles, California, okay? And it's going to be going down out there. You know, Jake is going to be on Jake. Jake was going to be out here having fun doing what they want to do. But on this flip hand, or the flip side, Esau is going to be doing the same very thing. He's going to have his weapon and he's going to be laying cats down left and right. Okay? This is what's coming to the earth. It's people that play games and act like we're not telling the truth. You're the dummy, not us. We're doing our job. You're not listening, that's your fault. Okay? So when the Lord gets ready to lay this shit down, you ain't gonna have no excuse. Okay? Slacky. This is Ezekiel 33:4. It says, Then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning. We started to 3. Ezekiel 33:3. It says, when he seeth the sword come upon a land, and he bloweth the trumpet and warn the people, then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, the blood shall be upon his own head. So you can't blame nobody else. Like they'll say, well, I ain't like how they were cursing. I ain't like that. They were saying curse words, Lord. The next thing the Lord gonna do is snap his finger, and you're gonna fucking disintegrate, okay? Implode, okay? Because the Lord don't want to hear no fucking excuses. He sent the men out there, and you didn't hearken. That's your goddamn fault. And I know it sounds cold, but it is what it is at this point. You don't see what's going on because you don't want to see. And ignorance is not going to be a defense. Okay, the Heavenly Father is holding everybody accountable. Please understand this, because He holds us accountable. If we don't tell you, we're going to be condemned too. Because even if we didn't physically, unalive you ourselves, right? The fact that we didn't tell you the truth is, and you got unalive, that blood's on us. So we have to go out on the highways and hedges and teach this word. Okay? This devil is doing exactly according to what the Bible said he would do. And he's doing it perfectly. Hey, so I'm going to get on out of here. I want to give all praises going on to you. How about Shemal Shai? By Shem Harbor Kadash. Shalom to the elect.